Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Football Predictions and High Value Odds. And today I'm going to be giving out picks for the Thursday's games, which is the Europa League and the Conference League match day 4. If you're a newcomer here, I suggest that you start betting on goals instead of outcomes of games, and also start focusing on singles. If you are going to go with an accumulator, try to keep it a double, so 2 games of odds around 2. Now, before we start making the picks for the Europa League and the Conference League, let's check out the picks that we had yesterday night, which was the Tuesday's games in the Champions League. We still got a few more games to go today. You can check that video out. So for the first pick, we had Porto over 1.5. And to be honest with you guys, this game had me sweating. Because Porto scored in the first half, then Antwerp got a red card, and it took a 40-year-old man in Pepe to score on the 90th minute. So we won that bet, but it was a tough one. Then we had Crvena Zvezda against Leipzig, BTTS. That went through, but also wasn't an easy game. Crvena Zvezda scored in the 81st minute by an own goal. I still didn't check out the highlights. So we're 2 for 2, and the only game we lost was Feyenoord. Really disappointed in them against Lazio. Yeah, they didn't manage to score. We just had Feyenoord over 1 goal, so no refund, no nothing. We lost that game, and that group is still up for the taking. I still think Feyenoord is going to qualify in the end of the day, but that was a pretty bad loss for them. But I'm sure a lot of tickets were lost already in the earlier games, especially if you were playing accumulators. Newcastle didn't manage to score in back-to-back games against Dortmund, and Dortmund is currently first in the group thanks to Milan's win against PSG. Not many people predicted a Milan win. And the other game that was a shocker was Shakhtar beating Barcelona. So the earlier games are always dangerous. No matter which league it is, it's better to stay away from them. Now, let's start off with the Europa League and let's head to Group E, a game between LASK and Union. We actually had that game last time. Union over 1.5 goals. I saw a lot of people took that bet. They delivered, but it was on the 94th minute. And thanks to that victory, now they're sitting in the second spot with 4 points. That's the same as Toulouse, who are playing Liverpool tonight, and I doubt they're going to be taking more than 1 point. So this is an opportunity for Union to distance themselves from Toulouse, and they're in great form. In the Belgian league, they're first. They won 5 games in a row. While their opponent LASK is not doing bad, they only have 1 loss in the last 7 games. And one more thing I wanted to mention, even though Union won those 5 games in a row, they conceded in each one of them. I believe that there's going to be goals in this game. That's why I'm going to be riding with BTTS here. The odds are currently at 160, so this will be my first tip, that both LASK and Union will both be scoring. Now, for the second tip, we head to Group G, a game between Servette and Sheriff Tiraspol. Both of those teams are sitting at 1 point thanks to their 1-1 draw in the previous game. Now, a lot will depend on the outcome of the Slavia Prague Roma game. If Slavia Prague beats Rome, those 2 teams are out. But if they don't and one of those 2 teams win, there's still something to play for. Now, Servette is the hottest team in Switzerland in terms of form. They won 5 straight games and they're only 3 points behind the league leaders, Young Boys, who just lost to Man City. While Sheriff Tiraspol is dominating the league, but it is the Moldovan league. No disrespect, they're first place there. But it is the same team that had a 6-0 loss against Slavia Prague. I think Servette overall is the better team, and I'm going to be riding with Servette over 1.5 goals for odds 188, so this will be my second tip. Now, for the third tip, we head to Group H, a game between Hacken and Molde. Now, in this group, Leverkusen is qualifying in first place without a doubt, but the second place is still up for taking. Last time those 2 teams faced off, Molde absolutely destroyed Hacken 5-1 and opened an opportunity to qualify. They'll be hoping again that Leverkusen takes care of business and wins against Qarabag. But besides all that, Molde have been absolutely atrocious in the Norwegian league. They lost 4 games in a row, while their opponent Hacken is currently 3rd in the Swedish league and they have the most goals scored. It's a Norwegian team facing off against Swedish Scandinavia. Let there be goals. I'm going with BTTS, considering the last 5 games that those 2 teams played were all BTTS. So this will be my third tip, that Hacken and Molde will both be scoring. Now, for the last tip in the Europa League, we are heading to Group A, a game between Freiburg and Bachka. We actually had that game last time, BTTS. It helped us out that Bachka scored early in the first half, and then Freiburg ended up winning that game 3-1, which put them in a good position to have a chance at qualifying, considering Olympiacos and West Ham are facing off against each other. Now, the easier pick would be here to go with Freiburg over 1.5, but the odds are way too low. I'm expecting goals in this game because Freiburg have been playing a lot of high-scoring games, and they also have been conceding a lot. In the last 3 games, they have conceded over 8 goals. I think Bachka is an underrated team. They're just in a tough group, but they have been scoring against those teams. So I'm going to be riding with Bachka in this one, considering Freiburg have been conceding a lot of goals. Listen, this may be more of a suggestion, but you guys can take over 0.5 goals, of course, if you like this bet. The odds are currently at 220. I'm going to be going more with the risky pick here. I'm going to be taking that Bachka will score over 1 goal here. The odds are great, probably the highest ones I took on this channel. They're currently at 550, so this will be my 4th tip and more of a suggestion. Now let's head to the Conference League and let's start in Group E, which is one of the more entertaining groups because any team can still qualify in there. Now Legia Warsaw is not doing great at all in the Polish league. Besides their last victory against Radomiak, they lost 4 games in a row, including 2 at home. And with the way Zrinski has been battling this group and scoring goals, I believe they can score at least 1 against Warsaw. I'll go with the safest pick here with my favorite bet of all time, just over 0.5 goals. The bookies are currently giving us odds at 162, so my first tip would be Zrinski just to score against Legia Warsaw. Now for the second tip, we remain in Group E, a game between Aston Villa and Alkmaar. I'm sure you're all familiar with how well Aston Villa has been playing under Emery, especially at home. They have been really dominant. They won 7 out of the 8 games they played in this year. However, they're coming off that huge loss against Nottingham. This was a huge weekend for Man City in the Premier League, considering all the top 5 teams dropped points. And the last time those 2 teams faced off each other, Aston Villa had no problem. They won that game 4-1. I'm expecting Aston Villa to score at least over 1.5 goals in this game. The bookies are currently giving us odds 150. So this will be my second tip, Aston Villa over 1.5 against Alkmaar. Now for the third tip in the Conference League, we're headed to Group D, a game between Besiktas and Bodo. We had that game last time, BTTS. We got really lucky because Bodo scored an own goal on the 90th minute and they dominated Besiktas. But Besiktas is a different team. When they play at home, they won every single game except that crazy comeback loss they had against Lugano. But still, they have the opportunity to qualify in this group, but they will need to beat Bodo and get some help from Club Brugge by beating Lugano, which I think will happen. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to take Besiktas over 1 goal specifically. The bookies are currently giving us odds 145. And to explain the over 1 bet quickly for the newcomers, if Besiktas scores 1 goal, you get your money back, refund. But if they score 2, you win the bet. And if they score none, that's when you lose it. Now for the last pick in the Conference League, we're heading to Group A, a game between Olympia and Klaksvik. Last time those 2 teams faced off each other, Klaksvik won that game and they're still in the race to qualify while Olympia is sitting at 0 points. I like this game for stat reasons. Olympia hasn't conceded in 3 consecutive games, but at home they have been doing pretty bad. And this is a huge game for Klaksvik because they still have the chance to qualify in this group. So I'm going to be going just with a Klaksvik goal against Olympia. The odds are not great, however, they're at 140. So this will be my third tip for Klaksvik to score against Olympia. Guys, so this is it for the Europa League and the Conference League. We have about 8 tips. If you support this channel, hit the thumbs up. Also comment down below the bets that you're going to be taking for this Thursday. And I'm going to be back on Friday for the domestic leagues. I'm going to cover the Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays games. And then we have the lame international break. But yeah, it is what it is. So bet responsibly, stay healthy, and I'll see you very soon. Adios.